Alright, what's up? So, recently I finished reading the Soul Society arc from Bleach, and I wanted to make a video talking about it. Now, don't expect this video to be very in-depth or anything like that, because I was not taking in notes while I was reading it. It's just sort of a casual reading experience and just my general thoughts on the arc, because I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was just reading it whenever I was bored in class, and here we are, I finally finished it. But I think I should share my story with Bleach first and foremost. So, most of my time, I haven't really enjoyed shonen manga. The only one that I kind of liked was Dragon Ball, but whenever I tried to get into one, I don't know. The only one I tried to get into was Demon Slayer, and I watched the first episode, and I'm just all these tropes that I normally see in shonen manga, they just don't really appeal to me. And in Demon Slayer episode 1, I thought there were a lot of stuff like that in there, and so I just gave up on the whole genre. I'm like, no more hecking shonen, okay? But then then I started reading One Piece, and I guess I should say I started reading One Piece more because I started all the way back in 8th grade, but I was very inconsistent about it. But I started reading it more and more, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is actually kind of fire. And so I'm finally caught up with One Piece, and I'm sitting here just thinking, wow, I should try giving some of the older shonen manga a shot. And I guess this isn't necessarily true because I also like Hunter x Hunter, but out of the very, very, very mainstream shonen, the ones that your friends who don't know what an anime is but watched all the episodes of Naruto or whatever, I'm talking about the series that they really enjoy. And so, you know what? I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'll give it a shot. So I start watching Bleach, and I actually really enjoy it, but I particularly enjoy it because of one specific character, that being Rukia. Now, for some reason, there's very rarely there is a character that just makes me want to watch or experience the media that that character is in purely because of that character. It's really hard to describe. The only other character that was able to do this was Fi from Virtue's Last Reward. Now, this might be a little surprising if you know me, because my favorite characters you would have think was Chiaki Nanami, Makise Kurusu, and yeah, there's some of my favorite characters, but they don't have the same sort of feeling that I have toward them. With Fi and Rukia, I don't know why, I just wanted to see more of them in their respective shows, manga, and video game. Now, funnily enough, I never did finish Virtue's Last Reward because of some stupid dart puzzle. But I did finish Bleach, or I didn't finish Bleach. I'm still reading it. I did continue to watch Bleach up until near the end of the first arc, and then I sort of left it alone for a little bit, but from what I watched, I really enjoyed it. And then some time passes by, I get caught up on One Piece, and I'm just thinking to myself, hey, I need to read another shonen manga because I really want something to fill that void. So I started reading Bleach again from the very beginning instead of the 40 chapters or whatever the first arc is. And once again, I really like it. Again, a lot because of Rukia, but then all the other stuff is really interesting as well. And so this is where the Soul Society arc begins. Now, I really like Rukia. I've made this point very clear so far. So the whole concept, or the whole, I guess, idea behind the Soul Society arc is that Rukia gets kidnapped. And so now, the whole reason why I'm reading Bleach in the first place is just gone. Right? There's no more Rukia. I'm like, okay, well, shoot. Well, I guess I'll keep reading because I like Ichigo. I like some of the other characters, and I do really like the sort of main quote unquote cast that gets introduced in the first arc. Because I think from now on, we're going to be seeing a lot more of these characters from the Soul Society. But the first group of characters I really like because they just seem like, real people. I wouldn't say their backstories or personalities are super engaging and developed, but as a casual cast, I really enjoy them. I think they work well together and they have a good chemistry. So they need to go to the Soul Society in order to save Rukia, and they do a lot of training. And it's just standard training. I don't think there was anything too particularly special about it, at least not yet, because later on we see more of the characteristics that make Bleach Bleach, but for now it's just sort of a normal training arc, and then they go through this tunnel or whatever, and then they end up at the Soul Society. And it's really cool because this Soul Society has sort of some semblance of world building, and I'm gonna get into what I think Bleach's priorities are, and what its main focus is, and how world building maybe might not be its biggest priority, but it's still, that's sort of disingenuous to say because it's still really cool. They have these captains and these leaders, and these captains have sort of backstories that sort of interconnect with each of the captains and characters. I don't know, it's a lot more thought out than I originally thought it was going to be. I wouldn't put it on par as something as One Piece's world building or backstories and characters, but it's still really good because while it may not be the main focus of the series, which I think One Piece is more focused on that sort of stuff, it's still pleasantly surprising, and I still really enjoyed that aspect of Bleach. So they go into the Soul Society and they need to, I don't know, they find a way to just launch a rocket into the Soul Society. I don't know, it's something, a cannon or something, I don't know. They go from the air and then they boom, they just land straight onto there, right? And then all the guys are freaking out. They're like, what the heck? These are Ryoga or whatever. There's some specific term that they use for people who are not part of the Soul Society inside the Soul Society, and that's something that comes up a lot. There's a lot of, as somebody who does not know Japanese, okay, I got kind of confused with all the terminology they were using. They might be just be normal Japanese words, and so I guess it's not a big deal. But for me, who basically knows only English, I'm trying to learn Spanish, I'm trying to learn Japanese slowly but surely, seeing all these foreign foreign words and trying to keep track of them, we're like, wait, what's that again? What the heck is a bankai, right? But luckily sometimes there's a little definition that's in between the panels. I think it's every new volume they remind you, hey, this is this and this is that, and so that's kind of cool, right? That's really helpful. I really did appreciate that. But there's a lot of stuff like that. For example, the attacks, it'll be some word, some Japanese word, and it'll be like the thousand sunny coming down from the heavens with the cherry blossoms from your heart attack or something like that. I don't know. It's really it really caught me off guard sometimes trying to remember everything, but it's not too bad because there's only some terms that you need to know to sort of get the general gist of what's going on. But the attacks, I'm not going to be able to tell you what attack Zaraki did when Ichigo was fighting him, right? And I guess that's another thing that I want to talk about. I guess we'll get into priorities here. I think the main priority for Bleach, from what I've read so far, is to just make really cool fights. And I think it does a really good job at it. There's sort of a formula that on one hand I do like, on the other hand I don't like. There are two different formulas, I guess. One formula is that in a lot of the fights, there's it's so cool. You know it's coming up, okay? I don't know how to describe it, but there's some text and it's leading up to the character saying something big, and then you go to the next page and it's just this really cool drawn out character with his sword or whatever, with like black magic or something, and he's like, I've come to destroy you or something. That's not a specific example, that's just one that I made up right now, but it does that a lot, and it's always so impactful because of how cool everything is. It's drawn so well. It's really hard to be more objective than just saying it looks so cool. He did a really good job at making it look really cool. I don't know how else to say it. Everything is sort of a grand spectacle, which sort of it raises my curiosity with how high this power ceiling is going to go, because some of the stuff that happens in the Soul Society arc, keep in mind this is the second arc, okay? chapters maybe 100 to 180, maybe a little less, about around 100 chapters, ending at the around 200 chapter mark with maybe 700 chapters in total. We're already getting stuff coming from the heavens and like gates opening to another world or universes or stuff like that. Like, okay, how are they gonna top this? Is the escalation of power just gonna keep going and going? I don't know, because some of the stuff that happened seemed pretty endgame to me, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think for now it's fine, but I wonder how it's just gonna play out in the future when things start to, I guess, naturally rise in scale of danger levels. That was a horrible sentence, but you know what I mean, right? So one thing that I don't really like about the fights is that it always follows the formula of one side is winning and then well, let me do my super ultra attack. It's like, oh no, and so now that side is losing, but then they're like, well, you didn't know that they call me the most speedy person for nothing. Wah! And so it just does that back and forth a little bit. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, there's not really any tension because I sort of know who's going to win already. And yeah, there isn't really that much tension in this arc, which I don't think is a bad thing. I don't think everything needs to just completely subvert your expectations. But it would have been nice to, I guess, see a more evenly distributed fight. I might be wrong. There might be some that are in there, but especially with Ichigo's fights, the one with Zaraki, for example, and I think the fights leading up to everything just seemed, okay, well, Ichigo is losing, and then he goes and then he gets some sort of small power up, and then he wins. And I don't know, I just got kind of tired of that for a little bit. I don't think it happens too much, but it did happen for a few fights. And I don't know, I got kind of bored of that. But the fight still looked really cool, and I think that's its main priority. And then with this magic system, I don't really know what's going on. I think they hinted at it sort of near the end, how some people use swords, some use fists, some use speed, and some use spells, I think. But then they also have a Zanpakuto. This is another one of the terms that I don't really know. But I think they can talk to their weapons or something. Ichigo does it a lot. There's one training bit while he's in the Soul Society, which I think is a lot cooler than the one before he just entered, where he's trying to obtain a Bankai. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's basically just a super special, ultra ultimate attack, right? And he needs to grab him or defeat him or something, but basically his sword has a personality, right? And I think everybody has that. I might be wrong. I don't know for sure. I wasn't paying ultra careful attention to, cool black magic, right? But I think if they develop that some more, I think that'd be really interesting. Although I don't think that's necessarily the right move. I think if they do it more naturally instead of just sort of info dumping, I think it could work well. Because once again, that's not really, I don't think that's the main priority, right? But it's still really cool to think about that each character can do that. But as far as the moves that they can all do, it just sort of seems kind of random. I don't necessarily see why one person could use a move and why another person couldn't just use that same move, right? There might be some limitations, or maybe that's just really how the power system goes. I don't know too much for sure, but that's sort of what I'm sort of getting at. It's just, okay, well, this person can do this and it does some damage, and then this person can do that and it does some other damage. And I don't know, sometimes it's sort of hard to gauge who's winning in a fight that way. But that's really what the fights boil down to, is just doing a cool move. And at times, I don't know, it's just a little formulaic, kind of like what I was saying earlier, but it's not too bad yet. I mean, it's still really cool and I still greatly enjoy it. But if it continues, I think if every fight was like that, it's going to start to go a little downhill. But so far, nothing bad. Nothing bad, I don't think. I still think it's pretty heckin' good. And so let's see. As for the characters at first, I did not like the Soul Society characters. There were just so many, and I didn't really know who was who. But the thing is that they keep on showing up, and over time you start to learn them, which is a little jarring because I thought we got introduced to the main cast in the first arc, and then okay, look, there's a bunch of other people that you need to know about. And so I'm like, whoa, okay, this is all a lot to take in at once. But the thing is while Ichigo and friends are going to save Rukia, there's this whole other arc, or I guess plot line, that's happening within the Soul Society that is directly related to Rukia. And when that gets revealed near the very end, it's really cool because you realize that everything was all planned out, right? And so I really enjoyed that. It didn't really feel as if this was just coming out of nowhere. These two things, Ichigo going to save Rukia, why Rukia was getting executed in the first place, and why there's this whole rebellion going on in the Soul Society, they're all connected to each other, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, because there's that plot line that connects later on, you start to learn more about these other characters in the Soul Society, and they all have their really cool little quirks and stuff like that. But they're all I enjoy them all. I don't think there is a bad character. There's some that I think get more screen time than others, but they all have some sort of role. It's kind of hard to keep track because there's so many, but you do start, or at least I started to understand them more and more, and I ended up really enjoying them. So then at the very end of the Soul Society, you save Rukia from her brother, which was not really her brother. I don't know. There was something weird, because her brother was actually married to her sister or something. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe I should reread that because that sounds kind of important now that I think about it. But basically, oh wait, I forgot to mention one thing about the powers is that Ichigo started to sort of form a hollow, I think. I don't know. He started to get a white mask. And I know that later on it becomes, I don't know, Ichigo, that's sort of his transformations, right? And I think somebody hinted, I think it was Aizen hinted at that in order to, I guess, break limits, because Ichigo was doing a lot of stuff that he shouldn't have been able to in such a quick amount of time. And in order to do that, you sort of need to transform yourself into a hollow in order to reach those feats. It was something of that nature. And so that was sort of why his face started to get a white mask. And I think that's a really cool idea. I can't wait to see how that plays out. But yeah, we forgot about Aizen. Aizen is the upcoming big bad. He wasn't the big bad of this arc, but he seems to be an ultimate final goal. And I got spoiled that I'm pretty sure he isn't the ultimate final boss or whatever, but I do really like how they're sort of hinting at him, and then obviously he's going to come back into play later. Because when I was reading Bleach for the first time, I wasn't really sure how they were going to keep it going. You know, I thought it was just going to be completely separated arcs that really didn't have anything to do with each other. And I know that's kind of weird because no shonen is like that, right? But I wanted to see how they were going to keep this thing going and going. And by introducing a villain who just opens a huge hole in the sky and just escapes at the very end of the arc, I think that's a really cool way to keep the reader engaged, to read more and more, just to see the overarching plot, you know? And so yeah, Aizen's really cool. I can't wait to see more about him. But what was I saying before? Oh yes. So basically, Ichigo saves Rukia, and they're all getting ready to leave, right? There's this one moment where Ichigo's just hanging out with his friends that he made in the Soul Society that I thought was really wholesome. But then they're trying to find Rukia, and they're like, where is Rukia? And so they go and they find Rukia apologizing for killing somebody a super long time ago. I don't know. That's another moment where I feel kind of bad that I didn't really understand, but you know, it's fine. It's a first read through. I'm not supposed to understand everything, right? So Yeah, Rukia is basically like, yeah, I'm staying here. And at this point, I'm like, bro, what the freak? Because now Rukia is staying in the Soul Society. We spent so much time trying to save her, and now she's not even gonna be part of the story. I mean, I know she comes back, right? She has to come back because I've seen her in the time skip or whatever. But bro, I was so ready for Rukia to come back for the story, and then she's like, nope, I'm staying here. And so the whole reason why I'm watching Bleach, boom, out the window. Is what I would say if the Soul Society arc didn't heckin' hook me, and now I want to keep reading more because the fights are so cool and I want to learn more about these powers, and Aizen and all the characters part of the Soul Society are actually really cool and I really enjoy them. Like Renji is cool. I like Zaraki. Those are my two favorite. I can't think of any of the others. I can't think of their names, but when they show up, I'm gonna enjoy them. And yeah, I've been told that they're sort of the main cast from now on, which is kind of weird because now they're not in the Soul Society anymore. So I don't really know how they're gonna come back, but I know that they do come back. And so yeah, instead of my interest being solely because of Rukia and because I really like Rukia as a character, now I'm really interested about all the other aspects of Bleach, all the fights, all the power system, the other characters, the little amount of road building that they do, the Ichigo. I mean, I think everybody had kind of a time to shine. I guess the original cast didn't really do much. For example, Orihime and Chad had maybe one fight and they were just sort of there, which is a shame because I really like those characters. Uryu is pretty cool. I think he had more time to shine, but a lot of it was focused on the Soul Society characters. And so basically what I'm trying to get at is that when I first started watching Bleach, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, but I like Rukia, and so I want to watch more because she's a cool part of the character group. But now Rukia is gone, and I still want to watch Bleach, or well, I guess I'm reading it now. I still want to read Bleach. And so I think ultimately this arc did a really good job at solidifying Bleach as its own thing. And moving forward, I hope that it continues to be just as good because I really enjoyed the Soul Society arc. Yep, that's it. Read Bleach. I don't know when I'm going to finish the next arc, but I've always wanted to make a video about some sort of manga or anime, and here we are. Originally, I was sort of paralyzed before doing it because I didn't want to get something factually incorrect or just have a really bad analysis on it. But I sort of just thought to myself, well, if I never try, it's never going to get there, right? And so even if this video sucks, I still did something that I want to do, right? So yeah, that's it. I will probably continue to read more Bleach and make more videos on it. Okay, goodbye.